What's up, everybody? Today, let's talk about getting out of your vehicle while under fire. So, if you watched my last video, I was talking about shooting from a vehicle, some tips and tricks. Now let's talk about if you need to unass the vehicle, if you need to leave for whatever reason. Obviously, this is not going to be all-encompassing. We could sit here for an entire day and talk about every single scenario possible, and we'd probably still miss 100 of them. So this is just going to be very generalized. This can be used for, the military, contracting, law enforcement, and or civilians, right? So let's just pretend this handy dandy, let's go down here a little bit, handy dandy eraser is your vehicle, right? Now, the most common place you're gonna take fire from, or you're gonna see yourself in the bad position from, the most common place you're gonna take fire from, or you're gonna see yourself in a bad position from, is either gonna be the front or from a side, okay? Why is that? Well, let's say you're driving, let's just put this in civilian terms. You're driving and all of a sudden up here is an entire crowd of, choose whatever you want, KKK, Antifa, BLM, whatever, right? Bad people. They are going to want to try to harm you simply because whatever, you drive a pickup truck, whatever it is. You have been boxed in because you did not do like what you're supposed to do. You did not leave yourself an out. And now your vehicle is becoming compromised, right? You have no way out with your vehicle. And then on top of that, they're, throwing rocks, they're, doing whatever. If they're shooting you, obviously you're in a real bad spot. But you need to unass your vehicle, okay? So, a couple key things. One, we have a dirty side and a clean side of your vehicle, okay? The dirty side is wherever the bullets are coming from, wherever the rocks are coming from, wherever any of that is. So if the crowd's up here, they're going down here. This is the dirty side of the vehicle. This is the clean side of the vehicle. Clean side means there's no bad shit going on down here, okay? Same with this. If this is the dirty side, this would be the clean side, vice versa, blah, 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 okay? You want to try at all costs to exit the clean side of the vehicle. Obviously, if they're coming this way, you can't go out of the trunk unless you have like a James Bond car, which is pretty cool. Then I highly suggest getting out of the trunk and videotaping it, just because it would probably go viral. Other than that, if you need to exit, if it's from the front and you need to unass the rear, right? You have, let's just say we've got a 4-door vehicle, right? The only option you have is to bail, whether you're a driver or a passenger, is to bail and go to the back, right? Pretty simple stuff. Again, in the civilian world, whether you need to return fire or not, that's a whole other world. We can't really get into that because there's a million different situations and a million different what to do and what not to do. In the military and the contracting world, generally, you're not going to get too many rocks and stuff thrown at you. If you do, you don't care all that much. But you're going to, you'll get shot at a lot more. Same with law enforcement, right? There's videos out the ass of guys shooting at cop in his front window, cop has to bail, right? There's tons of them out there. So the only way to unass your vehicle this way without going through your trunk with that 007 car is you're going to have to get out either the driver, passenger, front, back, and you're going to have to bail towards the back, right? What you want to do, the whole key in doing this, is put as much vehicle between you and the threat as possible. So if the threat's up here, you're going to want to be back here. As much vehicle is going to save you from the rocks, and it's also going to do a hell of a lot to save you from the bullets. There's a lot of guys out there that have never been shot at in a vehicle, never trained in or around vehicles, that'll say, the vehicle's not going to stop any bullets, blah, blah, blah. And that's just simply not true. If you put the entire vehicle between you and the bad guy, there's a really good chance that you're not going to get hit. I'm not saying it's impossible for you to get hit, because there's always possibilities for everything. What I'm saying, there's a good chance that you won't get hit, okay? Same with rocks, you know, anything that the bad people are throwing at you or winging at you, okay? Now, there's obviously different SOPs, different ways of unassing your vehicle. There's instructors that say never walk backwards. You shouldn't walk backwards into the unknown. There's instructors that say never turn your back on the bad guys and run back here. And everybody has their own way of doing it. And I'm not here to tell you what's right or what's wrong. I'm just here to tell you from experience, from watching hours upon hours of footage of stuff like this happening, and getting trained on all this stuff. I can tell you that if you are getting shot at, more than likely, not all the time, more than likely, you are going to unass and you are going to get back here as fast as possible, okay? What does that mean? More than likely, it means you're going to unass, and if you shoot from here, from the V pillar, you know, if you shoot from there a couple rounds, or you shoot from your window a couple rounds, whatever, but if you're going to get out and get back here, more than likely, you're going to run, okay? You're not going to walk backwards, you're going to run. If they're still shooting at you and you're shooting back at them, you're probably going to walk backwards and shoot at them at the same time. There's tons of videos out there of cops doing that. With dash cams and body camera and all that stuff being put out to the public right now, there's just tons of footage out there. So the instructors that are like, oh, you never want to walk backwards. Well, maybe in theory, maybe you don't, but in reality, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in CQB. It's going to happen in your vehicle. It's going to happen all the time. And granted, yeah, we may not want to walk into the unknown because, you know, the whole thing is you could trip and fall. Well, fuck, man, you can trip and fall going forward too. I've tripped and fall going up, down, left, right, everything. It just happens. You just got to know, if it does happen, how to work the problem, how to fix it, okay? So if you're walking backwards and you're shooting, and then you get back here and you have to reload or whatever, okay, I mean, that happens, right? I can't tell you how to do anything in a gunfight. If you've never been in a gunfight, you don't know how you're going to react. Some people will fucking haul ass back here and then they'll get ready. Some people will shoot from here, then haul ass. Some people will shoot while they're hauling ass. And then the situation completely changes if you have multiple occupants in the vehicle. Who gets out first? Who gets out last? Does everybody get out at the same time? If this dude in the back leaves his door open and then you got to go all the way around his door, that's a bad day too. Because now you're coming out here in the open, completely exposed. You don't even have that door to provide you any cover, all right? Oops. So, this is like the world's shittiest dry erase board. Thanks, Amazon. Okay, so again, we're not gonna get into the minutia of everything, right? We're just gonna say this. If you're a backdoor guy and you're getting out the back door and front guy is not gonna climb over the back seat and get out the back door, shut your fucking door, okay? Don't be a dick. That's gonna be the best thing you can. Now, the front guy is probably gonna leave his door open because that's gonna provide him a little bit of concealment as he goes to the rear. Again, a door is not cover. Lots of parts of these cars are not cover, but when you add in the entire vehicle, a lot of it is gonna be cover. Okay. If you don't know the difference between cover and concealment, concealment means they can't see me. Cover means they can't shoot me. They can't penetrate that barrier, wall, whatever's in between you and the bad guy. Okay. So we unass, we come back here. Now all of this now becomes a game of angles, right? The angles also work both ways. Okay. If you're way up here, the angles say you can't see bad guy probably can't see you. If you're way back here, okay, you can see a whole bunch, bad guy can see a whole bunch, okay? There's a happy medium right in this area where you can see a little, bad guy can see a little, but if you lean down, bad guy can't see you, and then you can pivot left, right, front, back, if need be, and you can get the best angle on that guy. Maybe you have to take a knee and pop out to the side, okay? Maybe you got to take a step back and turn your gun sideways and go over the trunk so you can try to get clean shots through the glass, right? There's a million different ways of shooting, and we're not going to go into shooting techniques because there's 1,000 dudes out there that have 1,000 videos on them that are way more intelligent than I am. So I'm not going to go over all of that. Maybe one day, but again, there's like dudes that have 30 years experience on fucking Delta Force that's going to talk about this stuff. My experience does not even compare at all to their experience. So I would, you know, take their word over some other guy's word like me who didn't do that awesome job that they did. But okay, so game of angles, right? Maybe you want to shoot underneath the vehicle. Whatever it may be, the game of angles is going to be playing hard in a vehicle scenario, okay? Remember, too far back is not good, up close is too not good either. Now, there's also a train of thought that says, oh, you're never going to crowd your cover. That means you're never going to get really super close to your vehicle. Again, situation dependent. There is plenty of times that you can say, yes, I'm going to crowd this vehicle. There are plenty of times that say, hey, guess what? If I have to hide behind this wheel well, we can fit 3 dudes back there if we actually have to. I mean, you would be surprised of what you can fit behind and under and all that stuff with multiple people when the bullets are flying and you have nowhere to go. But like I said, there's a happy medium back here that you can get good angles on the enemy. The enemy, they're going to be able to get angles on you too because it works both ways. But the more you pop out, the more you change positions to get a better angle on them, the better you're going to be, okay? All right, so that's the front attack. Now, side attack, okay? Again, we have clean, we have dirty, right? Let's say they're shooting from this way, dirty side of the vehicle, clean side of the vehicle, all right? Okay, if you have passengers, obviously this is going to be different, okay? These guys can actually start shooting at that guy while these guys haul ass. Maybe they come here, maybe this bad guy comes here, and then these dudes go to the other side of the vehicle and exit out the clean side of the vehicle. So you have 2 dudes over here, 2 dudes over here, something like that, all right? If you get out of the dirty side of the vehicle and bullets are coming, it's not a good day. It's a very, very horribly shitty day. And there is a very high likelihood that you're going to get shot a lot more, okay? Again, you always want to exit the clean side, not the dirty side. Okay, so let's say you're by yourself and you start getting shot this way. The best thing you can do is bail and go to the place with the most cover. Engine blocks are usually, not all the time, but usually in the front of the vehicle. The engine block from the sideways portion of the vehicle is going to provide the most cover concealment that you have. A lot of bullets won't go straight through the engine block. They may go around and go through the plastic, but there's a lot of stuff in the engine, especially nowadays. They cram so much shit in there that a bullet's more than likely going to stop. All right? What else you got to be aware of? Just like the front and the side, you're going to be aware of like skipping bullets, bullets that skip off hoods and stuff. Bullets that go through glass, bullets that go through thin pieces of metal that are all over your vehicle, the bullets that skip off the ground, everything like that. But again, you're going to exit. You're going to go to the best possible cover and concealment for your scenario, for your position, whatever that may be. Maybe it's the front, maybe it's the back, I don't know. The terrain, MET-TC, mission enemy, time troops, all that good stuff. That's going to dictate everything that happens, okay? First and foremost, exit clean side of the vehicle. Secondly, get cover concealment as fast as humanly possible. Third, put accurate rounds on target, remembering the fundamentals of shooting and knowing what, you know, your target is and what's beyond it, right? Okay, if you are on this side of the vehicle and you need to exit on this side, you're gonna have to go over the seat, you're gonna have to go over the center console, what have you, to get out on the clean side. If you cannot get out on the clean side at all, right, hopefully you're going to have cover. You're going to have this person that can lay down suppressive fire if possible, so that way you can unass and then take the Mogadishu Mile all the way around the vehicle, right? That's going to be a really, really horrible day. But if for some odd, weird reason you can't get to the other side of the vehicle, then you got to do what you got to do, all right? There's really not much more to say other than that. Let's see. Rear side of the vehicle, same thing. If you got to go around back, it's going to be a bad day. It's always better to exit on the clean side of the vehicle. Game of angles. Again, I need to invest in a better whiteboard. Jeez. So if you get out here, again, game of angles, you got your tires here. Let's just pretend that. You got your engine block over here, right? You're going to get down here. Remember, the farther back you are, the more you can see, the more they can see you. The farther up you are, the less you can see, the less they can see. happy medium. You can see a little, they can see a little. Angles work both ways. So if you need to pop out, take a shot here. You need to go prone, take a shot there. You need to go over, take a shot over. Anything like that, you can have multiple areas to pop in and out of. That way you keep the bad guy guessing, right? Bad guy's more likely going to stay in a position over here. He might go left, he might go right. Out of all the shootings that you see from especially cops, the bad guy most of the time does not advance towards the cop or towards you. More than likely, they're going to stay in this position because they want to get as many rounds off as possible, then fucking DD them out and get the hell out of there, right? So the more that you are able to pop around and shoot the bad guy, the better off you're going to be. The one thing you don't want to do is keep coming up in the same position over and over. That way, this dude just has to keep his weapon trained right here, and as soon as he sees your little bean pop out, he pulls the trigger and you're dead. We don't want to do that. We want to keep them guessing by popping out different areas. If you have multiple people, if you have four dudes trying to cram back here, just remember muzzle discipline, muzzle awareness that's going to be a big thing, especially in the heat of battle when, you know, maybe you forget to put your weapon on safe. Maybe your finger stays on the trigger for a little bit too long. Maybe you're going high and your buddy's going low and then pops up too quick. There's 1,000 different shitty things that can happen. So you as a shooter have to be a thinker first and have to be aware of what's going on, where your partners are. Maybe you have to put a hand, you know, on your partner to keep him down while you're shooting over their head. You know, there's a million different things that can go into that, right? But big things to take away: exit clean side, watch your angles, watch your muzzle discipline, know what's beyond the target, not just the bad guy itself. Okay, let's go over, you shoot, I kind of went over the last video, shooting from glass, shooting through glass. A lot of times your first bullet, especially on the front glass, because it's got that laminate in there, your first round is going to deviate, depending on your angle, depending on the angle of the glass, depending on what vehicle it is, depending on what year the glass is. If it was kept out in the sun versus in a garage, 1,000 different things, it's going to deviate from, the bullet is going to deviate a little bit. Once you get that first round, you put that second round right through the same hole, and you can just keep putting rounds through that same hole, then the less it deviates, the more it's going to be very accurate. Obviously, depending on how good you can shoot. Same thing with side glass. Side glass, you can pop them real easy with one round. They'll both pop out, and then you got clean shots. Okay, let's talk about this scenario. There's a video of it going around. It's actually a really good video of these two cops, and I think it was an undercover vehicle. They were chasing bad guy. Bad guy ends up bailing. I think he wrecks his car in a field. Ends up bailing and starts shooting at the cops, okay? Cops, boom, boom. I can't remember, I have to watch the video again if they shot from the V-pillar or not, but they both ended up coming back here, just like this, okay? They had no choice but to exit from their vehicle, but they went to the clean side of the vehicle, right? And then they posted up there, right? Both these cops, you can see they did some mag changes, they did a bunch of stuff. They were, the only thing that, you know, obviously hindsight's 20/20. Obviously, you can look at every single situation that ever happens and say, oh, he should have done this, he should have done that, right? You can play Monday morning quarterback with literally anything and everything that happens. The fact of the matter is, you probably weren't there, you've probably never done this, and those cops have probably never been in this situation before either. So they might look at this and be like, oh shit, you know what, we should have done this, we should have done that. Next time, mental note, we're gonna do that, okay? And when you've been in a situation like this, and then you see where you mess up and how you can improve, you're probably going to end up improving. Your brain is going to be hardwired. Hey, next time I'm not going to do that shit. They were doing a lot of standing. They were doing a lot of popping out from the same position. They moved a little bit, which was pretty good. Initially, I think this guy like came way out here and then came back in here, okay? Because he was just trying to create distance. He was trying to create space, and he was shooting. This guy was shooting while walking backwards. And you can't fault them from that, right? Your brain, when a lot of this stuff happens, your lizard brain takes over and says, holy shit, that's trouble. We need to get the fuck away from it, right? And then somewhere in this area, 10, 15, 20 feet, whatever it may be, your regular brain kicks in and says, what the fuck are we doing out in this fucking field in the open? We need to get behind cover, motherfucker. Fuck that lizard brain. We need to get over here. So then you're like, oh shit. So then you come back over here, right? And it happens a lot, and you know what? You can't fault the guys for that, right? You can't fault the guy for his lizard brain taking over and trying to control what he's doing, because eventually he corrected himself, and then they came back here. From the camera angle, there looked like there have been a couple flags, weapons pointed at somebody. I'm here to tell you why you may try to avoid that at every single cost known to man. That shit may happen, okay? The biggest thing you can do is keep your finger straight and off the trigger if you're not actually shooting, and if you have a safety, manipulate that safety. Other than that, it's a gunfight. Unfortunately, things like that happen, especially when, you know, you have two guys that have probably never been in a situation like this before. But these dudes both came back here. They both used the angles of the vehicle. This guy was up here. He was still shooting, and they were able to shoot this guy, okay? I don't know how many rounds hit the guy. I don't know how many rounds they shot, but they were able to hit this guy. Now, everybody can be a better shooter. I'm not here to criticize how these guys were shooting, because I know that I'm not the best shot in the world, and I don't know anybody who actually is. So these dudes, they get credit for where credit's due, all right? They used the car, the length of the vehicle as cover and concealment, okay? They ran to where they needed to run to. His brain corrected itself, okay? They both came back here. They did mag changes and a bunch of other things like that, and they were able to subdue the bad guy, okay? But that game of angles, I don't think bad guy ever went like over here and tried using his vehicle, right? Why? Because while a lot of bad guys like to shoot guns and they like to think that they're something that they're not, training always trumps stupidity, okay? You may get lucky every once in a while, but 99.9% of the time, if you're a well-trained person and you know how to work the angles and do this, that's going to defeat that guy. How do we know? Because we have guys that do this day in and day out for a very long time at the highest level possible, and 99.9% of the time they win the gunfight. So now we kind of covered most things, right? Let's say training. How are you going to do this? Well, where I live, we have places out in the woods that we can go shoot. It's a designated range. There's a bunch of different ranges, and you can kind of go do whatever you want out in the woods. If you have that, awesome. If you don't, if you can find a way to go to a range and park your vehicle and place targets, different angles, different lengths, behind cover, halfway behind cover, all that, and you can try and use the angles yourself. Do not shoot your vehicle. Remember, here's your gun, right? Here's your optic. This is called height over bore. You've probably seen it 1,000 times where a dude is right here, is this vehicle. He can see the target from his optic. His barrel is still pointing at his vehicle. He shoots and fucks up his vehicle, but he still sees the target downrange. Don't be that guy, okay? Remember, there's gonna be, you know, up to like a 3-inch difference, you know, between height over bore. So you have to take that into account when you're doing it, okay? But yeah, you can go to the range, you can set out different targets at different angles, and you just play around. Hey, if I pop out on knee, what does it look like? If I get down in, what does Kyle Lamb call it? The broke back mountain prone, shooting from underneath my vehicle. If I shoot standing up, if I, you know, lean left, lean right, whatever, you can go out there for a few hours and spend all that time just looking at angles and different ways to shoot. You know, you can back off, and you can back way back here to see what it's like, see what you see. Then crowd your cover to see what you see. You know, then get in that happy medium and see what you can see. If you go to the range and you do this for a day, you're gonna know exactly how to do this. You're gonna know exactly how to shoot. Because while it may seem simple by doing it on a dry erase board, in real life, even with like simunitions, it's not simple, okay? It's not simple at all, because if you're walking backwards and you're shooting at this guy and you do happen to trip and fall, you can put a round in your vehicle, put a round in your partner, put a round in your foot, whatever. If you turn your back and you haul ass back here, you can get shot in the back. I mean, there's 1,000 different scenarios and 1,000 different ways to do it. This is just a down and dirty, real basic, real, hey, how the hell do I get out of my vehicle type of deal. Okay, let's start with this. When you pop your door, the tendency for this to happen is very apparent. Okay? So the door can easily go out and swing and come back. So all you have to do is take your foot and pin the door. When you open it, you just pin it like that. super simple, right? More than likely your gun's already gonna be drawn when you pin it. Again, whether you're gonna shoot from the car, you're gonna shoot from the V, whatever, you're gonna get out and maybe you're gonna shoot from here. Whatever it may be, that is all situation dependent, okay? When you do pop your door, you're gonna shoot from your V, right? Or you're gonna come out, you're gonna go. Different people will tell you different things on shutting the door. If you have dudes that are coming out behind you, you know, if you're, like I said, if you're in the rear seat, you probably want to shut your door. The front seat, you probably leave the door open. While it's not cover, you know, it is concealment, right? So you can work those angles again like we were talking about. Okay, so you pop your door, you came back. Again, whether you run backwards or you're going forwards, whether you're shooting going back, you know, it's all going to be situation dependent, completely on what you do. When you get back here, again, you're going to have that door for cover, right? That doesn't mean you want to expose your whole body out here if you don't have to, right? Well, there's a lot of talk about switching hands. Well, like this, okay, bang, bang. I switch my hands. There's nothing changing. So this whole switching the hands with pistol thing, there's very, very few situations that I've ever been in or ever even heard of that require you to actually do that. If you come out right here, you know, I have a clear shot through the V. If you gotta come out, you gotta lean out more, boom. You come out, you can take a knee like this. You know, you can do 100 other movements to solve the problem. Okay, so what I was talking about with those angles is if I'm sucked up into my cover like this, right, then I have a very limited view of what I can see, okay? If I back way up like this, I can see more, but they can also see me a lot easier as well. And then there's your happy medium, where I can see through glass, I can see around, I can kind of peer out. But again, they can see me a little bit easier. So the angles work both ways. You just got to know how to play them. The best way to do it is if you are a police officer, you can go take your patrol car out and start shooting around your car, right? Shooting from underneath, shooting from, you know, over the hood, from the back, from the doors, all that stuff. Cops don't get to do that enough, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, they don't hardly ever get to do it. So that's something I think that you definitely need to start doing more of. As a civilian, if you have a place that you can go shoot that will allow you to do that, then I would say definitely do it. Especially in today's day and age, you never know what situation you're going to find yourself in. So if you can get, the more training you can get, the better. That's what I said. And I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, drop them below. I tend to answer all those questions. A lot of you are finding me on Instagram and ask me questions on there. You can ask anybody that ever asks me questions. I have no problems talking to people, helping them out with really anything. And if you need any training ideas, let me know. But always remember, ask yourself, are you an asset or a liability?